Didn't turn out the way I planned. So we'll have to figure out if it turned out okay at least. Welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina, KRISTINA. This is where we read books and talk about books. No special effects, no theme music, none of that fancy schmancy stuff going on here. I don't have the money for it, and I'm not talented like some of these other people are. If you could please spread the word and let everybody know I'm here, that would be most appreciative. I think my videos would be popular, but nobody knows about them. If you could please check out Star Trek Next Generation recaps that aired earlier today, and Mondays, where we talk about my favorite magazine, Romantic Times Book Review. I do 70 or 80 books every Monday. I've been doing them for a while now, so go back and check out all those podcasts. With the Star Trek ones, you might run into a few garbled ones. We were having audio problems for a while. We will, fingers crossed, no audio problems today. I've got lots of podcasts to do. So, fingers crossed that you survived the day. So this is If Then, and I think it's episode 35 or 36. I'll have to look it up. I think, 36, I think. So anyways, this didn't go as I planned. As you know, I got carried away with Halloween and Christmas. The books galore, and I am going to go bonkers with Christmas. So be prepared for 5 weeks of massive amount of Christmas variety of books. If you haven't checked out Halloween yet, go check out those. We did horror, suspense, thriller. Then we did Halloween cozies, Halloween not so cozies, mysteries, the whole nine yards. And also the Thanksgivings. So this is the last week of Thanksgiving. And they're not necessarily Thanksgiving books. And I'm trying to find Thanksgiving books, and it just wasn't. So then I decided to go that way. So I went that way. And it was late yesterday. They had the epiphany that I should have went that way. And it never occurred to me to go over here. It never occurred to me until yesterday afternoon. Like, damn, that was a better idea. So we're going to live with that idea. And we'll have to let me know if this is good. So what I was trying to find were families, contemporary romance that had family gatherings or get-togethers or large families, stuff like that. And for Christmas, that'll be massively easy because I know most of those authors. I've read most of those books, so I'll be able to do those easily. We're going to do Regencies, we'll do cozies, we'll do mysteries. There's so much Christmas out there, it's not funny. But, so anyways, thinking with this one, I was trying to do romances with families and family gatherings, possibly Thanksgiving, possibly, summer occasions where people got together at the beach or a cabin or some romantic thing like that, or homecomings. And it didn't go as planned. So let's get to it. So the first one is a little on the lighter side. Some of these get dark, and I hadn't expected to get dark. And the last couple are just silly ones that I saw that have nothing to do with this whole video, but they were silly, and I just thought I'd throw them in. So stay tuned for those. So the first one is Lucy Monroe, Wild Heat. It's one of the lighter ones in this video today. In the quaint little town of Kai, Alaska, it's impossible to keep a secret, especially one as juicy as the unexpected return of Kitty Grant. Tack McKinnon remembers her wild red curls and even wilder spirit, and still feels the sting from when she shattered his heart in college. but there's a pain in Kitty's gorgeous eyes that guts him to the core, and Tack is determined to do whatever it takes to see the woman he loves smile again, even if it means taking on her demons as his own. After fleeing an abusive ex-husband, Kitty decides the best way to heal her broken heart is to come back home. But she gets a whole new shock when she sees how undeniably sexy Tack has become. More handsome, more muscular, more charming, more everything. He's impossible to resist. Before she knows it, they're reigniting sparks that could set the whole state of Alaska on fire. Yet trust doesn't come easy to Kitty anymore, and as things heat up between her and Tack, she can't help but wonder if one of them is going to get burned. See what happens? There might be a nice little quick reading. What was my... Oh, yeah. Not your average family gathering Thanksgiving books. Believe it or not, these came in a search. Kate White, the fiance. Summer's looking forward to a break from hustling for acting work in Manhattan. When she, her husband Gabe, and Gabe's 9-year-old son arrive at the annual family get-together at her in-laws' sprawling estate. On the agenda are leisurely gourmet meals, tennis matches, and plenty of relaxation by the pool. But this year, Gabe's brother Nick has invited his new flame, Hannah, whom Summer immediately recognizes from a few years before. Oddly, her brother-in-law's girlfriend claims not to know her, yet Hannah charms the other family members, and after Nick announces he's proposed to her, Summer doesn't have much choice but to grin and bear it. Then the reunion is rocked by tragedy when a family member is found dead. Though the doctors attribute the loss to natural causes, a grieving Summer fears that the too good to be true Hannah is involved, even if as Gabe dismisses her suspicions. Interesting. These are in no particular order. Alright, so there's a couple that don't belong in here. But who cares? Oh, it doesn't belong here either. This is a lady that I would never expect to find in this kind of pile, but we did. She's writing for decades. V.C. Andrews, Out of the Rain. Having escaped the trauma of Umbrella Lady's home, 13-year-old Saffron Faith Andrews is determined to reunite with the father who abandoned her a few years prior. Discovering that he lives only a couple of towns down the train line, she disembarks from the same platform he left her at and enters a whole new world. First, Saffron is shocked to find out that her father has married and has a child with a woman he knew before her mother's death. Then their reunion is made worse when her father insists Saffron pretend to be his niece so he can continue to con his new wife's family, at least for a while. Lies can be tools, after all. Desperate for her father's love, she goes along with the farce, but the lie stretches from a few days to a permanent role. And soon Saffron begins to wonder whether facing the cold world alone would be better than staying trapped in a toxic, dangerous family and playing out someone's game. Oh, that sounds like a V.C. Andrews book, don't it? Alright. Let's do... Some of these were weird. One book, two families, a lifetime of obsession, The Skeleton Key, Erin Kelly. I told you these were not your average Thanksgiving books. In a large house in London, two families meet. One person among them is excited about the revelation he's about to make. The others dread what will happen. The Golden Bones by Frank Churcher was published 50 years ago, but as a simple fairy tale and treasure map, but soon grew into a dangerous obsession for many, bringing despair, danger, and even death to those associated with it. All the while, a single piece of the puzzle remained unaccounted for. Now Sir Frank wants one last publicity burst, then to put the whole thing to rest. His family are violently against the idea. None of them want the scrutiny it will bring, and as buried secrets rise to the surface, crimes of the past and present are revealed. Ah, Light. LYNN STIEGER Strong. A fateful few days in the lives of two families comes in LYNN STIEGER's strong hands, a clear-eyed examination of our current moment. Let's see what it says. It's December 22nd, and siblings Henry, Kate, and Martin have converged with their spouses on Henry's house in upstate New York. This is the first Christmas the siblings are without their mother. I figured it was Christmas when I saw this, but I was kind of hoping for fall, but obviously Christmas. But it's in my Thanksgiving pile. What can I do? This is the first Christmas the siblings are without their mother. The first not at their mother's Florida house. Over the course of the next 3 days, old resentments and instabilities arise as the siblings, with a gargle of children underfoot, attempt to perform familiar rituals, while also trying to decide what to do with their mother's house, their sole inheritance. As tension rises, the whole group is forced to come together, and unexpectedly, when a local mother and daughter need help. With the urgency and artfulness that cemented her previous novels, Want, a defining novel of age, Strong once again turns her attention to the structural and systematic failings that are haunting Americans, but also to the ways in which family, friends, and strangers can support one another through the gaps. It's all about the family, which might be good for Thanksgiving. Oh, yeah, I could just see this as a topic of conversation at the Thanksgiving table. Everyone in my family has killed someone. Okay. Aaron Cunningham, crime fictionado, is a reluctant guest at his family's reunion. Family reunions aren't for everyone, of course, but Aaron's part of a notorious crime family, and 3 years ago he witnessed his brother kill a man and immediately turn him into the police. Now Aaron's brother is being released from prison, and the family is gathering to welcome him home. As if that weren't bad enough, the reunion is taking place at a remote mountain resort. The day before Aaron's brother is set to arrive, a man's body is found frozen on the slopes. While most Cunninghams assumed the man simply collapsed and died of hypothermia during the night, Aaron's stepsister spots a strange detail. The man's airways are clogged with ash. He appears to have died by fire in a pristine snowfield without a single burn mark on him. The longer the body goes unidentified, the more overwhelmed the local policeman becomes, and more Aaron realizes it's up to him to find the murderer. Holmes, Christie, Sherton, he's read them all. He knows what patterns to look for, what rules killers follow. And of course he knows his own family, every member of which, as he's told us from the start, has killed someone. You can't say these aren't interesting. Hello, beautiful. Oprah Book Club. And Napolitano. William Waters grew up in a house silenced by tragedy, where his parents could hardly bear to look at him, much less love him. So when he meets the spirited, ambitious Julia Padavone in his freshman year of college, it's as if the world has lit up around him. With Julia comes her family, as she and three sisters are inseparable. Sylvia, the family's dreamer, is happiest with her nose in a book. Celia is a free-spirited artist, and Emily patiently takes care of them all. With the Padovas, William experiences a newfound contentment. Every moment in their house is filled with loving chaos. But then darkness from William's past surfaces, jeopardizing not only Julia's carefully orchestrated plans for their future, but their sisters' unshakable devotion to one another. The result is a catastrophic family rift that changes their lives for generations. Will the loyalty that once rooted them be strong enough to draw them back when it matters most? Interesting. Daniel Steele, Lost and Found. It all starts with a fall from a ladder in a firehouse in New York City. The firehouse has been converted into a unique Manhattan home and studio where renowned photographer Madison Allen works and lives after raising three children on her own. But the accident happened while Maddie is sorting through long-forgotten personal mementos, photos resulting in more than a broken ankle. It changes her life. Spurred by odd memories, the forced pause in her demanding schedule, and an argument with her daughter that leads to a rare crisis of confidence, Maddie embarks on a road trip. She hopes to find the answers to questions about the men she loved and might have married, but didn't in the years after she was left alone with three young children. Wearing a cast and driving a rented SUV, she sets off to reconnect with three very different men. One in Boston, one in Chicago, and another in Wyoming. To know once and for all the decisions she made were the right ones. Interesting. Deanna Rayburn, I'll be doing one of her books in a couple of days, so look forward to that review. September 1889, Veronica's natural historian Bo Stoker has been languishing in Bavaria for months, and the relationship is at an impasse. But when Veronica appears with his brother Tiberian in tow, Stryker is coaxed back home by an intriguing job offer, preparing a megalosaurus for a very special dinner party. Tiberius has received a cryptic message along with the obituaries of two recently deceased members of his old group of friends, the seven sinners, that he too should get his affairs in order. Realizing he is in grave danger but not knowing why, he plans a reunion party for the remaining sinners at his family estate to lure the killer out. We may read this. We may read this because it's going to read with the other one. And I'm a series person. I got to do series. Alright. So, these last few are really not. But they were cute. And I thought they were cute for reads. I just thought I'd throw them in. Armistead Maupin, Tales of the City novel. Mona of the Manor. In the nearly 50 years since Armistead Maupin introduced the world to residents of 28 Barbary Lane, his beloved characters have become his like family. To millions of fans around the world, now in the 10th and final novel of the Tale of the City series, we catch up with Mona Ramsey, free-spirited and unpredictable as ever, among the bluebells in Britain's golden Cotswold. When Mona married Lord Teddy Roughton to secure his visa, allowing him to remain in San Francisco to fulfill his wildest dreams, she never imagined that at age 48 she could be the widowed Lady Mona, sole owner of the grand romantic country manor in the UK. She also didn't imagine that she'd need to open easily housed doors to paying guests to afford the electric bill and repairing leaky roof. Yet somehow she and her young friend Wilfred, her adopted gay son, who guests assume is Easley's charming but clumsy butler, and the loopy gardener Mr. Hargis are making it work. Cute. Sounds cute. Nancy Thayer. The family reunion. Eleanor Sunderland loves living in Nantucket in a gorgeous cliffside home that has been her family for decades. This year, she can't help but feel a bit isolated, even as the island comes alive with summer tourists and travelers. Her best friend has skipped town on a last-minute cruise, leaving Eleanor lonely and feeling nostalgic about her family weekend trips to the island made less frequent in years since her husband's passing. Now her money-driven children contact her mostly to complain and to beg her to sell her beloved home for a steep payout. Hoping to kick the season off on a good note, Eleanor decides that her 70th birthday may be the perfect occasion for a much-needed reunion. Fresh from her college graduation, Eleanor's granddaughter Ari has just ended an engagement that felt less like true love and more like a chore. She longs for a change of scenery and escape to her parents' snobbish expectations. Taking advantage of her newfound freedom, Ari heads to Nantucket to clear her head before graduate school, moving in with her grandmother and taking a job at a local beach camp. As she watches Eleanor form a bond with an old acquaintance, Ari herself becomes smitten with a friend's charming older brother. But just as grandmother and granddaughter fall into a carefree routine, shocking discoveries throw them off course, and their ideas for the future become uncertain. Robin Carr, The Family Gathering. Having left the military, Dakota Jones is at crossroads in his life. With his elder brother and younger sister happily settled in Sullivan's Crossing, he shows up hoping to clear his head before moving on to his next adventure. But like every visitor to the crossing, he's immediately drawn to the down-to-earth people and the seemingly simple way of life. Dakota is unprepared for how quickly things get complicated. As a newcomer, he's on everyone's radar, especially the single woman in town. While he enjoys the attention at first, he's really only attracted to the one woman who isn't interested, and spending quality time with his siblings is eye-opening. As he gets to know them, he also gets to know himself and what he truly wants. Aw, that sounds like a good Thanksgiving book. The rest of these are. Would you stop? She's gonna dump everything. Anyways, the rest of these are not Thanksgiving moments. But they were. I just thought they'd be interesting. Um, this one, Wanda Brunstetter, the Amish millionaire. While Joe Byer, a prodigal son, returned to home county, Ohio, to ask his wealthy and eccentric Amish father for money again, he receives a chilly reception. Eustace Byler has offered his wayward son enough chances to mature and refused to give Joel any more money for his frivolous spending. Without his father's funding, Joel dips into savings set aside for his future marriage. When Christy Palmer learns of this, she attempts to break off their engagement, and family ties that were already weakened are further strained as Joel, greed pulls against the siblings' needs. Let's do this one. I saw this one yesterday, and it sounds like a really interesting read. It might be against this whole. Maybe I shouldn't do it. I don't know, it hit me, so I thought I'd share it. I picked it up, and I was really seriously considering reading it. It's not a happy topic. Um, so I thought I'd. Yes, ma'am. But it sounded interesting, and because it's mother and daughters, I just thought I'd throw it in. Um, Maurice Carlos Ruffin, The Daughters. Addie, curious, sharp-witted girl, and her mother, Sante, are inseparable. Enslaved to a businessman in the French Quarter of New Orleans, the pair spend their days dreaming of a loving future and reminiscing about their family rebellions and storied history. When mother and daughter are separated, Addie is left unmoored until she stumbles into the Mockingbird Inn and meets Lenore, a free black woman with whom she becomes fast friends. Lenore invites Addie to join her clandestine society of spies called the Daughters. With the courage instilled in her by Sanate, and with help from those strong women, Addie learns how to put herself first. She begins her journey toward liberation and imagining a new future. It does sound interesting, don't it? All right, another book that I did do a video on. So if you'd like to go back and check the fuller version of this, please do so. I did it last year. You just have to go into YouTube and do a search for it. But I did do this book last year. I had picked it up thinking that it was going to be voodoo and a paranormal type book. And I thought of this yesterday. This is one of the books that I was like, you know what? I should include this because it's about family. And when I picked it up the first time, like I said, I thought it was going to be a paranormal type situation. It's got a little paranormal in it, but mostly it's about family and the relationships between the great grandmother, the grandmother, the mother, and the daughter. It's about the family relationship of them all. So Diane Marie Brown, I actually remembered it and everything. So when I went to go find it, it was easy. Generations of Montrose women, Augusta Victoria Willow, have lived in their quaint two-story bungalow in California for years. They keep to themselves, never venture from home, and their collection of tinctures and spells is an unspoken bond between them. But when 17-year-old Nikki Montrose brings home a boy for the first time, their quiet lives are thrown into disarray. For the other women have been withholding a secret from Nikki that will end her relationship before it's even begun. The decades-old family curse that any person they fall in love with dies. Their surprise guest forces each woman to reckon with her own past choices and mistakes. It is a really good book. And it's all about the family relationships. All right. These are our two silly thrown-ins to help lighten this dark Thanksgiving thing that was supposed to be light. It's not light, it turned dark. So these are the two completely non-Thanksgiving related, completely non-anything related. I saw them and I'm like, oh, these are so cute. I'm gonna share. The Cat Sitter and the Canary. What the hell? Blaze and John Clement. On the lush and beautiful island of Siesta Key, Dixie Hemming finds a tall, handsome tourist loitering around the home of one of her longtime clients. He tells her he's just arrived from Scotland and that he's lost his glasses, which presumably explains why he can't find the house he rented for the seaside vacation. Dixie points him to the bungalow across the street, but not before rebuffing a few passes, and then goes about her business. She doesn't think about the man again until she finds a dead body in her client's front hall. And CANADEO, Strangers on a Scheme. We're equal. We're equal We're cat and dog people too. Oh, don't forget to check out my Dean Koontz uh, advice for the furry and full long every day at 5 o'clock. Strangers on the Scheme. Phoebe Myers' Black Sheep Knitting Shop's assistant managers finally come out from behind the counter to sell her own creation, Socks by Phoebe, at the Plum Harbor Farmers and Craft Market, a lively, colorful venue that draws shoppers from miles around. But her excitement cools when she learns the previous tenant of her booth, former Jimmy Hooper, committed suicide. She's barely raised her grand opening banner when Hooper's death is upgraded to murder. Phoebe worries that her stall is jinxed when things go from bad to worse. The last person she wants to see is her ex-boyfriend Harry the Potter McSweeney appears in the stall across the aisle to sell his wares. The Black Sheep advertise Phoebe to be strong and resist the handsome artist spell. But romantic sparks and tempers explode in a very public scene, and a pile of broken pottery before Phoebe can get back to business. Her stall is trashed, her Facebook page hacked, and another vendor is found dead. So, those are the 15 books for your light after Thanksgiving read. Who knew? It wasn't what I planned. But they are some pretty good books. So maybe you'll find something to read in those. And if not, check out my other if-thens. And don't forget Flashback Monday. There's 80 plus books in those. We do Regencies, contemporary romance, paranormal, mystery, sci-fi, Harlequins. No one else does Harlequins. So please check all those out. And have a good day. Thank you.